Hello everyone, my name is Shaw and I am from the Cox Fitness Centers. Welcome to Glute.Core.ACTIVATE. In this workshop I'm going to kind of discuss and touch on the importance of activating your glutes and core as a runner or just as somebody who works out. I'm hoping that you will understand the benefits and work this into your daily routine or weekly routine. All right, so let's talk about our glutes. So when we run, our glutes are what hold our pelvis and level steady. So this movement, okay? So our glutes are our largest muscle group. So it has to have a very important role, which it does, in how we move. Our glutes also help our hips extend and they propel us forward. And they help our legs, pelvis, and torso stay in correct alignment. So by strengthening your glutes, you are really affecting your run in so many different ways. And by activating them before you do an exercise, you help them play the role that they are supposed to play, okay? Instead of just sitting on the sidelines watching. All right, so when our glutes are faulty or not activated or weak, it causes our entire kinetic chain to be disrupted. So what it means is that your quads and your hips now have to do all of the work, and they end up getting overused, and that's how injuries come about. In fact, glute weakness is a common reason for injuries like Achilles tendonitis, runner's knee, shin splints, and iliotibial band syndrome. Those are all injuries that are directly related to weak glutes. So we are going to talk about, and I'm going to demonstrate some glute exercises that you can, again, do about two times a week, probably 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. I am just going to show you some band work that you can do before you run or do your exercise work. And I'm also going to show you some activation on the floor, okay? All right, so let's start here. We're going to start with a runner's lunge, okay? So a runner's lunge is something that, it's just one of those exercises that releases your hip flexors and tells your glutes, hey, wake up. So it's one of those things that you can do right before you run or exercise, okay? So we're going to stand with our feet about hip width apart, come down to the floor. I like to start mine this way. It just keeps everything in alignment. So you're going to come in a tabletop position. You're going to stand up from that or lift up from that. Put one foot forward, okay? And one hand on the ground on the inside and one hand on the outside of your leg. And you're going to come up to the ball of the foot of the back leg and then drop your hips towards the ground. At this point, what I like to do is move my outside hand to the inside of my thigh and hold that. Now you can hold these, for about 20 seconds and repeat them on both sides. And then you can also come up and do it from this position if you feel strong, because this now engages your core. All right, you can lift up your hands, you can put them down, you can put one here, and just again, push your hips down towards the floor, pushing through your heel. One thing I forgot to mention is make sure that your knee and your ankle are lined up. Okay, so you want that alignment. You don't want your knee over your toe. You want to be able to see your front toe, and you want your ankle and your knee lined up. All right, you can come back down to the ground, and then you would go and do it to the other side. So that's a great exercise to, again, wake up, release your hip flexors, and tell your glutes, hey, start firing, let's go, it's time to work. Okay, now we're going to go back into a tabletop position. I'm going to show you some hip circles, which is another great way to wake up your glutes and activate them before a run. So we start with, so think of your hips going in a circle. So you come forward, take them out, take them back. And I like to stretch out my leg, and that's how I like to start the next one. So I bring it in, take it out to a little fire hydrant, bring it back, and drop it. Okay? Again. Keeping that core nice and tight. And then you can reverse it and bring it around. So I would recommend 12 to 15 reps reversed, and then move to the other side, and then you can repeat it. Okay? So the key is on these hip circles is really making sure that you're not rotating too much over to the opposite side. And you want to keep nice, strong arms. Keep your core, your belly button pulled into your back so you're nice and strong. And you're making sure that all the emphasis is on your glutes and your hip flexors waking up. Okay? We're going to stay in this position, and we're actually going to go right into fire hydrants. So fire hydrants are another great, they've been around for a while, but they're great glute activation to do. So knees are still about shoulder width apart, about shoulder width apart. You're going to take it up, not too high, hold it, and then bring it back in. So the key with this is think about this, mind-body connection, only your leg is moving. So your back isn't arching, your head isn't kicking up, you're keeping your head in line with your back, and you're just lifting that leg not too high, high enough that you can feel, okay, I can feel something working here. Hold it, and then bring it back in. All right, so you would do 12, 11, 10, give that little pause, 9, 8, good, and so on, okay? So those are hip circles. The next thing we're going to do are donkey kicks. So the donkey kicks are an old but true way to wake up your glutes. Again, you can do just, 1 or 2 sets of these exercises that I'm showing you before your run. You don't have to take a long time to run through these. Now, when you're actually doing them for strength, you would do, your 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. And I do suggest doing all of this about 2 times per week for that strength training, okay? All right, so let's go back into our donkey kicks. So, core is nice and tight, head is in line. We are not arching our back at all, and we are going to keep our hip pretty much closed to the floor. So you're going to lift up, driving that heel to the ceiling, hold, and then bring it back in. Lift up, hold, good, and bring it back in. So when you're holding, you're squeezing that glute, hold, good, and bring it in. Push that heel, drive that heel to the ceiling and hold, and bring it in. So you don't want to go so high that you're up here and look at the front of my body. You really want to focus on having nice, strong arms, staying in that tabletop position. Head stays neutral to your spine, and you're going to drive that heel up, hold it, and then bring it in. Let's do 3 more. Drive it up, hold, and bring it in. Drive it up, hold, and bring it in. Last one. Drive it up, hold, and bring it in. Okay, same position. So this is great because you can do all of this right from here. The last activation exercise from this position I'm going to show you are called rainbows. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're drawing a rainbow with your whole entire leg, and that's a great way to wake up your hip flexors and your glutes. So come back to your tabletop position. The leg that you're working goes out, okay? Head stays in line with your back. You're going to lift up and over. Bring it right back to the beginning, and that's 1 rep. Again, up and over. And your leg doesn't have to be perfectly, poker straight, but you get the point. If you want your glute to activate, you have to kind of have that knee not flexed, okay? Here we go. Up and over. That's 1. Up and over. That's 2. Up. You don't have to lift it so high that your back, if you lift it too high, you're going to be down here. So I'm here. This is how high I'm going. Up and over. One more. Up and over and back. Okay. So those are rainbows. So we did donkey kicks, hip circles, rainbows, fire hydrants. Okay. Now we're going to get our band, whatever resistance band that you can handle. I'm going to place this resistance band above my kneecaps, probably about 2 inches, right here. Okay, so the natural thing that your body wants to do when it has something pulling, your knees want to do this, but that's not what we want our knees to do, right? So when we take our steps side to side, I want you to push your knees apart. When your knees are apart from each other, it means that your glutes are being activated, okay? So when we step, we're trying to keep our knees apart from each other. So I would recommend 20 steps one way, 20 steps the other way for this exercise, okay? Keeping your knees, so you don't want your knees pronating in. You want to push them away from each other so that you have complete glute activation. And let's take it back. Excellent. Okay, so from here, you're going to keep your band on. Soft knees, core is zipped up, meaning pulling your belly button to your back. We're going to talk about your core in a second. And you're going to do abductions. So you're going to lift, not too high, and back. 1, 2. Again, 12 to 15 reps on each side. Give it a little hold. Try not to run through these. These aren't for quickness. They're really to wake things up and get a deep squeeze, making sure that that glute is awake. Okay? And then we would take that to the other side. All right, next thing that we're going to do are kickbacks. So you're going to pull your band down to just above your ankle. I'm going to turn so you can see this. We're going to lift so we're going to kick our leg back, lifting from our heel. Okay? So when you lift from your heel, you will immediately feel your glutes start to take over. The key with this is not opening your hip out. You want your hip closed to the ground, and you don't want it so big that you start to compromise what your torso is doing. And that's going to come into play when we talk about how important core strength is. Okay, so both hips on your hand or release, whatever you're comfortable with. And you're going to take it up. 1, touch the ground. 2, touch. 3, really squeezing that glute. 4, 5, 6, good. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right, so we're going to do those butt kicks on both sides. Kickbacks, I should say, not butt kicks, on both sides. Okay, the next thing you're going to do, we're going to raise back up our band, and we are going to do air squats. Now, air squats are excellent. Again, your knees, you're going to have to fight your knees a little bit. So your knees with this resistance are going to want to do this. We don't want this kind of a squat. Okay, we want our knees to follow our legs. So you're going to push your knees apart again. Have your hands here. We're going to sit back. With that resistance, we're going to do a little hold. My knees are in line with my feet, and then come back up. You don't have to stand all the way up super straight. So I'm leaving a little something on it. Okay, I'm going to do 5 so you get the picture. 5. Find that seat behind you. 4, 3, 2, one more, and 1. Okay? Excellent. We're going to keep our band here. We're going to go down to the floor, do some glute bridges, and then we will be done with this little part, pretty much. Okay, so lie down on your back. Your ankles and your knees are pretty much lined up. Palms are flat on the ground, pushing your elbows to the floor. When you lift up, you don't want to hyperextend, so you don't want to be up there. You want to lift up so that you have a line, just squeezing your glutes. Once you lift off the ground, your glutes are going to be working. All right, so we're going to do glute bridges. We're going to do 5 like this, so up, squeeze. Again, keeping your knees apart, squeeze, 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 squeeze. One more. hold it here. Now we're going to do a glute bridge and open. Back down, up and open. Back down, up, open. These are excellent for waking up the glutes, engaging them, and they're great to make them start to fire. Okay? All right, so we are going to do 2 more. And last one. Good work. Okay, come on up if you were doing them with me. This last exercise is really about the core, but I figured since we're going to talk about that next, core activation, I'm going to show you this because this is the only one that I'm going to use the band for. So you're going to put your band across the bottoms of your shoelaces. You're going to stand up for me. And again, this is something that you can work into your warm-up before you run. It's great for your hip flexors, it's great for balance, and it's great for core. So you're driving your knee up. So your knee and your ankle are coming up as a unit, and they're staying on top of each other, okay? So it's drive, same side, drive, and you can even get your runner's arms in there. You're going to hold it at the top of the move. That's it. Hold. My core stays tight the entire time, and I'm getting a little coordination in with my runner's arms. I'm going to turn so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do the other leg. All right, so drive. Good. Drive. Not too high, so my knee and my hip are lined up. Drive, 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 and drive. Okay? Excellent. You can do them fast. You can do them slow. I've been doing those as a warm-up before I run for quite a bit. Okay, so let's talk about the core. So your core is made up of 5 groups of muscles. We have the abs going through the center. We have our obliques. We have our lower back, lower lumbar. We have our glutes. And we have our hip flexors. So the main benefit for a runner or for anybody of having a strong core is you have increased stabilization in your torso in this area, and that's always a plus. It helps with your breathing. It helps with your mobility. It helps to keep you upright. When you run, it helps you counterbalance your arms and legs. It even helps you ward off injury because now you're stable in your torso. If you hit a rock or you stumble or whatnot, you're not going to go all the way over because your core you're running with your core as a unit and activated. It also helps you with your posture when you run. You ever see those runners that are bent over like this? They probably have a super weak core, or they're back here. That also leads to injury for many different reasons. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to increase, just 3 exercises to increase or improve your overall dynamic trunk control. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to show you, they're called static runners. So they're kind of like the bicycle exercise that you do for core. I'm going to show it to you. So you're going to come down on the ground. Both feet start on the ground. And what I love about this is it helps with coordination, and it gets your arms involved and your hip flexors. So you're going to come up, opposite hand, opposite leg. 1, 2. This is the modified version. Okay? So what I'm doing, it's a little tiny movement. My arms are moving in sync, opposite arm, opposite leg, just like we run. So this is it. I'm going to show you it non-modified. Okay? So it's here. You can do either one, you will fire, okay? Your core, my core, I'm feeling it just from doing these little ones. Okay, so those are called static runners, abs, or runners. We call those runners, okay? And that's an excellent, again, 12 to 15 reps, 3 sets, and your core will be very nice and awake. The next thing I'm going to show you are called gorilla walks. I love these, but they are very challenging. So you can use a towel, you can use sliders, or you can use the little ab mat. I don't have a very big area to go across, so I'm not going to do them I'm only going to do a few reps, but the key with this is keeping your knees underneath your hips. So it's not a plank. And you're not pulling your leg. Those are alligator walks. These are called gorilla walks. I'm going to show you what I mean. You're going to come down to the ground. You're going to come in a tabletop position, and your legs stay here. You move your body with your arms. Legs stay parallel. I'm going to go backwards so you can see what I'm doing. What I love about that exercise is it causes everything in your core to wake up and hold their position. So it's an excellent way to train your core with your hip flexors firing as well in that position. The next thing I'm going to do, these are called plank pass-throughs. You can dumb it down by just doing the plank, which is still an excellent exercise for runners, or you can step it up this way. So you're going to come down in a plank position. You can do this with a dumbbell. You can do it with a rolled up towel if you're not quite at the weighted level yet. So I'm going to show you first. Plank position. All right, so I start from a tabletop position. My wrists and my shoulders are lined up. All right, and my feet are about 8 inches apart. My dumbbell is kind of behind my right hand, because that's the hand I'm going to start with. All right, so you're going to come up. I'm going to take my left hand, pull through, trying not to disrupt my position of my body. Take and pull. Take and pull. 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 Okay, so you can also do this with a towel. Or nothing, just hold the plank and count, okay? So I'll show it to you with the towel. This is a way to start. No weight. So what I'm fighting is being unstable. So really, planks are excellent for stability, core stability, and doing it this way is just another step up to help us really build that dynamic core strength. My name is Shaw St. Louis. I'm from Cox Fitness Centers, and I hope that you learned something today about Glute Core Activate for runners. Have an awesome day.